Hi, it's Amanda Ellis again from Collie Cambria. I'm just going to do, again, I'm doing very sort of challenging things as well as some fun things for all the family. This is actually making a corsage. My students have got to make a corsage again this week, and they like these little reminders just to help them because obviously they haven't got me in the classroom anymore. So this is the next best thing. So I'm just going to make a corsage. I haven't got very many materials, a bit like a lot of people at the moment, very limited. So I was lucky enough that I could get lots of ivy, and again I've been learned this is a very traditional one, however I'm just using slightly different things. So I've got some lovely hellebores, I've got a little bit of rosemary, some pearl beads because I needed something that was white, a little bit of white to go with my ribbon bow. I've got some dark green ivy, hebe that's got the pink tinge to it, so, and then the nice lime green hellebores. And also, just to go in with that, I just liked a little bit of the grasses, the dark grasses. It's nice to have a variety of textures, and as the students know, you need to look at different forms. You need to have a variety to give more interest. So I've got something that's nice and shiny against something that's perhaps a little bit more matty. And then I've got different colourings as well. If you had everything that was dark green, then nothing would stand on its own. So I've kind of gone for a variety of greens. I've actually wired the ivy, but I'm just going to do one little one with you now. So I've used a nice fine wire, 2/3 of the way up, a little stitch, which is called a loop stitch. Pull both wires down and twist. And then always pinch away, because the whole point of doing a wire corsage is that you can have the stems, wires here and the stems above. So I'm just going to tape that one in. So again, I've just caught that there, and I'm just pulling again nice and tight with this thumb and twisting my fingers. So you can see that it's moving along. I need to go right the way down. So all my ivy leaves are done. I've got some hebe that's done. I'm just going to do a little bit of rosemary. So again, fine wire. If you can thread it through something, that's great. If not, don't worry. And I'm just going to wrap them round like so. Pull both the stems down. And then I'm going to tape that as well. So there's some flies flying around. We've got lots of birds flying around at the moment, so if you can hear birds in the background. So I've got some bit of rosemary. All I've done with my pearl-headed beads, I've got some pearls here. Pearls always remind me of my nan. She just loved pearl beads, so I don't know, I've got to think about them just because she loved them so much. So again, it could just be on a nice wire like this. You could thread them through, and I've just done a little bit of a knot at the end. You can see that there, so they don't fall away, so they're nice and tight. So there's lots of things you can do with those as well. What else have I got? I've got some grasses. So all I've done has some dried grasses in the garden, and I've literally just bent them, caught them with a wire and twisted round. Obviously due to resources at the moment, and then taped it. We are very limited on what we can get hold of, so this isn't really a major selection, but I'm just showing you what you can make from really not very much at all. I've done a little ribbon bow. I quite like ribbon bows. To be honest, I haven't liked them for years, but obviously ribbon seems to have come a little bit more back on trend, and I think it's quite nice sometimes, and I think I picked that as well because I got the nice creamy pearls. Otherwise the pearls on their own would have just stood out like a sore thumb, so having a ribbon bow to match has actually really helped. So I've just done a small little ribbon bow there. Now first of all, I'm going to put a branching unit together with 2 leaves. So this is to sort of mimic a nice little ivy trail from outside. So you can see there, just 2 together. They're not on top of each other, they're slightly lower down. And then I'm just going to tape away then. That's the only thing now that you really need to tape. I've already wired my hellebores, so I did insert a wire and just took one across just to hold on to them really so they don't come away. So I'm going to start first of all with my branching unit. I've also got some binding wire. Now I have to say, even I don't use binding wire really, I tend to hold it all in my hands, but obviously I'm doing this as a learning tutorial rather than, so I will be using binding wire today. So I've got my branching unit. I'm going to pick the smallest of my hellebores, which, ooh, let me have a little look, it's hard sometimes to decide. Oh, I think it's that one. So I'm going to start with that at the top, like so. Then I'm going to put in my second one. Okay. And then I am actually going to do my main one, which I've actually done as two together, which I think looks quite sweet. And then I'm going to pop some ivy leaves at a vertical angle. Now I actually follow this really, even with my teaching, from the Beginner's Guide to Floristry, which is actually quite a lot of years old, because I was there as the year when they did the book as a student, so that just tells you how long it is. However, you can't beat it. It's still got this, you know, the basic construction methods in there, so you can see already just from that. Now I'm actually at this point going to bind everything together. Now it's important that when you bind, you don't move from your binding space and you stay on that spot. So preferably, you can catch up there, I have done it in brown today just because sometimes it stands out more against the green. But I'm hopefully not going to try and bind much more then. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of hebe. I've also got some nice tall grasses which I could pop in there. It's nice to have something a little bit different. Again, it's like I'm saying, there isn't much in my garden, so I'm actually having to make this without flowers, just things from the garden. So it does make things a little bit trickier. I've also got some lovely rosemary, so I'm going to have that on the opposite side. Okay. And then I'm going to tuck a little bit of the rosemary in there. And I'm going to bring a little bit of the rosemary underneath. I always think it's nice to have the colour going through, so you can see I've got blue, 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 so it like radiates around. Now if I just bring that maybe really close, you can see that everything is together, it's all joined together at the base. Okay, I've just lost my binding wire, but there it is. So I could actually at this stage bind everything so nothing falls out. Again, pushing your fingers really tightly together to hold it all in place. And this is when you can just have a little tweak with things, just check everything's sitting correctly for you. Okay, so I've had hebe there, so I'm going to bring some on the opposite side. There's nothing worse when you've got a corsage. You need to look at it from the side angles as well and make sure it's full, because you don't want somebody looking from this side angle and thinking, oh, there's a big gap there. So I'm just going to add that there. Now I'm just going to add some pearls into that. And again, the pearls, it's quite nice having something shiny against something matte. So again, I'm going to do another one coming through there. Okay, and I've also got some grasses that I've just twisted. Oh, I think they might look nicer on the opposite side actually, so let's see how they look down here. Okay, and I might just have another one perhaps there, so I'm just so it's so delicate of how many things you can actually get into such a small piece, and it is an art in itself really. With some other ivies now, I'm just going to use that, really it just more or less holds everything into place really. You can see there more on the back. I'm just going to bring another one up the front, underneath, and then I'm just going to add a ribbon bow, and I'll have to be quick because I think my son's just arrived home with his pickup and he'll probably ask me what I'm doing. I'm just asking him, yeah, but he'll beat the horn anyway. So I've just added my nice little ribbon bow in there. Okay, so I'm just going to bind that together. I'm just going to add one more ivy underneath, and then I'll just be able to show you. So I've got my binding wire here, and I'm just going to literally bind, and then I should just be able to pull that down, and I'll just be able to show you from the back there that it's all in the same spot, and you can see how neat it is then from the back. I'm just going to literally pull that down, and then I'm going to cut away at a slight angle. Make sure you clear all your little wires away, and I'm just going to tape that to finish. Again, I'm doing this in brown really just because it's a bit more visual against the green, otherwise green and green doesn't really work the same. And I'm just going to go right to the bottom. It's always good to keep them around 2/3. So I'm just having a, sometimes I just like a little, you know, just relax it, have a little look at how it's sitting. Make sure you can see everything. So I'm just going to show you from that angle there. You can see things have got hebe, the berries, the beads and the rosemary and some grasses. And on this side we've got a little bit of hebe, obviously in slightly different places. So when I bring that to the front for you now, can you see that actually everything's alternated? So we've got the rosemary and rosemary. We've got the hebe here and the hebe directly across, the same as the beading. And then I've got a lovely little cream bow just to finish to bring that on. And if I just pop that on there. Now some people actually do wear them that way, but obviously you'd have to cut the ribbon then because it'd be a bit long, because it definitely sits better that way. However, I do think for some reason it seems to sit much better on me this way all the time. So I think it's personal preference. You could put a pearl headed pin now to just finish off, or I've got like a T-bar. I could actually glue that onto the back, which works. Again, it's another quick way of doing it. Or I could literally just tape it on, which I'll just do for quickness now, just for you to see it on. And it's amazing now how I've just managed to make something quite sort of unique. And it's a traditional standard corsage with actually items that I have found. So you can see now on the back of that I've attached the pin, so it's nice and easy to go on. And as you can see, there is my corsage. So thank you for watching, and have a go. Thanks.